As a professional photographer, you can imagine the number one question I always get asked is, what camera should I buy? And I get this from people that have been shooting for quite a while. And they want to know what camera is right for them. And we're going to go through this today. It is a somewhat of an easy answer if you do things in reverse. And what I mean by that is, the first thing you got to do is see what system is right for you. And I don't mean as, what the camera can do or what its features are or any of that. In hand, what camera feel comfortable for you? Or for me, weight is a major thing. Like, I do not want to carry heavy equipment around. The reason I know this is because when I'm shooting events, I don't want a backpack or a shoulder bag filled with heavy gear, with a heavy camera and a heavy lens and a strobe. It bothers me. When you shoot for hours, the weight is a factor. That's like, I love the Canon system. And I think the quality and output of the 28 to 70 f2 lens is spectacular. But that lens is 3 pounds, plus the camera, plus a strobe. That is a chunk to be carrying around even without a bag. So, the theory of I just need one camera, one lens, and a flash, and I'm good to go is a great theory. But, we're looking at 4.5 pounds over, if it was a wedding, 8 hours, like that's a lot of gear to carry. A lot of weight, not a lot of gear. But so the first thing to determine is, hey, do I want a lightweight kit? Do I want something that's, I don't care about the weight. I just want great ergonomics. Like, you have to figure that out first. So, for Canon, you're going to be in heavy kit with their lenses and their bodies, especially their lenses. Their RF lenses that are pro lenses are heavy. They're big and they're heavy. If that doesn't bother you, like, the Canon fits in the hand like a glove. I don't care if it's the R5, the R6, whatever it is, the cameras are comfortable. They have beautiful color science. They have great autofocus. It's a great system, but you have to factor in the weight of the lenses. Sony, okay, so it's not as comfortable, but their newer bodies have a better grip and they're comfortable. You can create a lightweight kit with Sony. The Nikons, Z6, Z7, Z8, Z9, it's like they are ergonomically perfect in your hand, and you can go either way with that. You can go lighter kit, or you can go, holy crap, this is stuff heavy kit, because they're, 51.2 is enormous. They're 70 to 200, big lens. So that's the first thing you have to determine. Fuji, small, lightweight, light lenses. The next thing you have to determine after you go, okay, well, this is the kind of system that's going to fit for me, is what am I going to be shooting? Do you want to be shooting sports? Are you just going to be shooting for social media? Are you just shooting family? Do you want to go into the pro side of this someday? Is this the starting point for that? So in that case, that'll determine what body you get. Now, the other factor in this is, okay, well, I'm on a budget. So I know what camera system I want, but I am on a budget. So now we have to pick out the lens. If you're on a budget, the first lens is your primary lens that you're going to be using for a while. Now, for me, it would be a 50. The most versatile, I believe, for portraits to, a couple people in a photo, somewhat of a small group, to just about anything is a 35 millimeter. It can be used for everything, even portraits, folks. It does a beautiful job with that. Anyway, I would buy the best glass. If I'm going into this and saying, hey, someday I want to be more professional or go into this being a profession, I'm putting the money into the glass first. Let's say we went with the Canon system. I would buy the best 35. I would buy an R6 body, whether it be used or whatever, or an R7 or R8 or R10. They have so many. Get a cheaper body and put your money into the glass. Now, I know you'll see a lot of YouTubers going, "Oh, I'm switching systems because," and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's funny now. All the people that jump ship on Nikon are going, "Oh, the Z8 is the best camera in the world. Now I have to go back to Nikon." Now they sell all their gear. They're taking a 40% minimum hit on all that money to switch back over to Nikon and rebuying everything. It's insensical. It's not. Is that a word? Anyway, it doesn't make sense just to jump ship from brand to brand to brand to brand. Get to know your brand, get to know your lenses, it's not going to make you a better photographer. It's not. Going from a Sony to a Nikon or a Nikon to a Canon, it's either boredom or you're just a gear collector. Most of the pros I know just don't switch systems. They just don't. I mean, it's just the way it is. I have bounced through all different systems, everything, because I got a lot of stuff to try. And this is before I had a YouTube channel, before I was they just hey, give this a shot. And I took advantage of it. For me, my one and only system for I can't tell you how long was Nikon, because I love the company. I love their glass. We had some slow points in bodies, but look where they're at now. The company's always been there for me. For other people, it's Canon. I mean, I tried Canon. I did the Canon thing, and they sent me all their gear. It was when the Nikon or the Canon 1DX, I think it was, their flagship camera, the big release. I got the bodies, the lenses. I had to send them all back because they were all bad. They kept sending me new ones. So the Leica M11 thing that I had, this is not new to me. I had the same thing with the Canon. I went through 3 bodies, brand new, out of the box, that were all bad. Stuff happens. Anyway, getting back on track with this. So invest in glass first, always. You're always going to have a new body coming out or something that I have to have that. And 90% of the time you don't. But if you have great glass, that's your foundation for a good system. And if you can only afford one lens, get a good lens. Don't say, hey, I'm going to split it up in between third-party lenses because they're ultra cheap, but I'll have all these focal lengths. You're going to have all focal lengths that are mediocre versus one piece of glass, whether it's a Canon or Nikon or Sony. Get that one piece of glass you can start with and put money into that. That's never going away, okay? That glass is going to be with you no matter what body you have in the future, okay? This is my opinion. Next, I got a good piece of glass, now get that body. If you're going to be shooting sports with, it's all obvious, like Nikon Z8, Z9, I'm sorry, but the Z6 II is pretty good for sports too. I used it for sports for years, it works. But if you need the ultimate for sports, you get the sports type camera, the Z8 or the Z9. Canon, the R3. Sony, the A7 IV or the A1, depending on budget. But glass first, body second. So first thing you do is find a camera body that fits you, fits what you want to do. The look, the feel, that's up to you. No person on YouTube can tell you what camera is going to fit you. Now, for those who say, well, it's just a tool, you're just a tool. If you don't enjoy shooting your gear, it's just not enjoyable, if you will. I don't even know how else to say this. The Leica, I love holding it. The M and the SL, they fit. I've only had the SL for a short time, but man, every time I pick it up now, I go, okay, this is nice. The M I love. I would never trade the M for anything in the world. It is the right camera for me. Now, first thing this morning, something came through, and he's like, well, I tried this camera, this camera. I've never tried a Leica because I'm not a surgeon. And I'm like, what? I'm not a surgeon, I'm a professional photographer. This right there tells me this guy is not a professional photographer. He's a YouTuber that tries cameras for a couple days and goes, this sucks, or this is great. I'm sorry, my tools I paid for with photography. So if I choose to spend money on a Leica, which was, the SL was cheaper than a Sony A1, I get to do that. And I'm a working professional. I'm not a surgeon. So whatever body you want, you get because you earned it or because it's going to make you the money. Okay, that's a quick rant, I apologize. So let's concentrate on, you picked out your system, you know, if the Sony fits in your hand and you like the way it feels and like the way it looks, it's a lightweight system. If you don't mind the heavy weight and you like the Canon bodies and the way they feel in your hand, just go to a camera store, you know, or rent a camera. It doesn't matter. Buy one off Amazon and return it if you don't like it. Get that camera in hand first. No, don't buy the kit lenses. Spend your money on a cheaper body and get a good piece of glass to start. That's my best advice I can give you. Build up off your glass. The bodies will change as the years go. The glass is going to stay the same. All the glass out there, almost all the glass out there, again, that Canon 50 just drives me crazy because all their glass is so good, like so good. And that 50 is just, it still blows my mind to this day. Anyway, so this is the way I would do it. You know, like don't go on YouTube and look for advice on what camera system, because these guys switch systems like they're changing their sheets. And you know, and I hate to say this, but like depending on your location, you know, people look at this stuff and they go, oh my God, these photos are beautiful. I want a camera that can do that. And they're in the most exotic location with the most exotic model. Like, I'm sorry, if I was in an exotic location with an exotic model, I can pull out my iPhone and get the same kind of wow shots. I don't mean to be a dick, but you know, these are Instagram and YouTube view. You just show me the giant print in front of me, that's a different story. But if they're just doing it for social media, and then they have these get-togethers, I don't know what they call them, what are they, seminars or whatever, workshops. And I watched the whole workshop the other day, and it was like, the photographer running the workshop didn't teach them anything. They just brought in a beautiful model, a beautiful location. They all spend, whatever, $2,000 so they can shoot a beautiful model, beautiful location. They really didn't learn that much. They learned that the photographer goes, move this way, move that way. Okay, take this shot. Come on, that's not helping you. Okay, I swear to God, I'm done with my rants. Anyway, buy the camera that feels good in your hand and get the less expensive camera if you can't afford it and get one good piece of glass. And then the next time you can afford one, get another good piece of glass. You know, build up that way. You know, if you know you're going to be shooting, hey, I want to shoot weddings someday, you know, buy that 24-70. You know, if that's your jam. I mean, like if I was shooting weddings 100% of the time, I'd have a body and a 24-70 and I'd call it a day. Because that's all I want to carry. Yes, you have to have a spare camera if you're shooting weddings professionally. Don't let anybody tell you different. And that body, whatever it is, better have 2 card slots. But if you're not shooting professionally and you're just shooting for yourself, you know, great glass is great glass. You know, it really is. That's where you should start. You know, pick out your system and then start with your glass. And remember, I don't care if the Canon system's right for you, it doesn't matter what body it is. It really doesn't. The glass is what you're going to look at first. Okay, I'm done with this ramble. Please don't leave in the comments, but what camera should I buy? Like, honestly, just do a little bit of self-research. You know, go and hold the cameras and see what feels good to you. There is no camera system that's better than the next. There really isn't. And, you know, the Fuji system, it is a crop sensor. If you don't mind crop sensor and you're not going to be shooting, you know, like large prints, I shot professionally with Fuji, so I'm not going to say if you're shooting professionally, don't buy Fuji. I shot professionally with Fuji. It worked just fine for me. But the professional sessions that I did with Fuji, they weren't going to be for large prints or for commercial work, but they worked for everything else. Now, full frame, I like full frame. That's just me. But I loved the Fuji lenses. That was the give for me. Now with their new bodies with the 40 megapixel, those lenses that I love so much, the smaller lightweight lenses, you can't use on their 40 megapixel sensor. Fuji themselves say this, folks, because they just don't resolve that 40 megapixel sensor. They're just not made for that. They're made for the 26 megapixel or lower. And believe me, the Leica SL2S, I love this because those third-party lenses, the reason I don't pixel peep or watch reviews or find out about the charts or anything else is because it's a 24 megapixel sensor. I guarantee you that every new lens in the L system, no matter if it's Panasonic, it's Sigma, or it's Leica, is going to resolve this 24 megapixel sensor hands down without an issue. They're all going to look fantastic, and they do. So that's a big positive for me. Anyway, sorry about this really long rant, but I hope you got something out of this, and I hope this helps guide you in the right direction. This is something you have to determine for yourself. And for me, the way a camera feels in my hand, the way I feel holding that camera is number one. There's just no, it is it. That's it for me. I want to love holding this and using this camera. Once I get that part down, I know, okay, well, this is the lens I'm going to buy. Anyway, have a great day. Hope this helps.